The Coneheads is a comedy movie which was released back in 1993. It's a comedy movie about an alien couple who crash land on Earth and have to live like normal human beings until a rescue mission is sent to get them back home. The movie begins when the US National Guard officers notice an unidentified aircraft flying towards the country. A fighter jet is sent to stop the weird-looking aircraft, but despite many warnings, the pilot of the alien aircraft doesn't stop and instead flies at an incredible speed. This prompts the fighter pilot to attack, and the aircraft lands straight into a lake, while two romantics completely are busy kissing. You know, I wouldn't mind missing a UFO crash land if I get someone to kiss me. Alright, moving on. Two aliens come out of the lake and they look just like humans, but with cone-shaped heads. The Conehead aliens go to a motel to seek shelter for the night. They fill out the form in a language of their own, and to pay for the accommodation, they use coins out of the vending machine. Despite all the red flags, the motel owner decides to give them a room. After assessing the many weird items they find on Earth, the Conehead aliens start talking business. The alien couple Beldar and Primat Coneheads were sent on Earth to conquer it so they could use it as a fueling station, but they have crash landed and failed their mission. Primat believes that their High Master will not be pleased when he finds out about their failure. Beldar is concerned how he will make use of the primitive human technology to connect back home to planet Rumalak. What he has now is just an old TV, so he starts working at a repair shop, and given how he is much more advanced than an average human, he works at an incredible pace which has managed to impress his boss, Otto. But what he doesn't know is that Beldar is stealing items to assemble a communication device. Soon enough, they have all the components ready to build the communication device. After successfully connecting back to their planet, Beldar notifies their aircraft was compromised and now they're stuck on Earth. Hearing this, the commander informs Beldar and Primat that their High Master will not be happy with them, and they'll most certainly face punishment when they get back. Okay, punishment is fine, but what about the rescue? The commander tells them that a rescue vessel will be sent to them in 7 Zerls. And looking at their facial expressions, 7 Zerls probably means a lot of time here on Earth. Just when Beldar is thinking about how he'll pass 7 Zerls on Earth, Primat reveals that she's pregnant with their child. So now there's one more responsibility added to them. Meanwhile, Otto is really happy with Beldar, and he's tripled his earnings in just a few days. And he's really generous to give some of it back to Beldar. He asks Beldar for his social security number so he can add him to his payroll. But since Beldar is not from the US, he doesn't have an SSN. Otto is left sad when he realizes that his best employee is an illegal immigrant. Afraid of losing Beldar, Otto takes him to Adam Sandler, who gives him a false identity. Sandler provides him with all the papers and important background information so that Beldar gets to live the life of a legal American named DeChico. Now that Beldar has a false American identity, the next thing that needs to be fixed is his teeth. He goes to a dentist to get a crown put on his teeth. The dentist understandably gets shocked to see what he's going to deal with. I bet for sure he didn't appreciate seeing this. Okay. With everything dealt with, the Coneheads will now get to live peacefully in America. Right? No, not on the watch of the ruthless INS agent Gorman Sneedling, who's currently proposing the idea of making illegal immigrants wear a collar and deporting them back to their country. Next time when they illegally try to enter the United States, they will simply blow them up. The idea is obviously inhumane and everyone can see it, but Gorman's ass-kissing assistant Eli Turnbull keeps praising Gorman for serving his nation the best way he can. Gorman's eyes have been set on Beldar and he's confused how a man named DeChico has been working 10 jobs after getting shot to death a few years back. The conclusion is that Beldar is an illegal immigrant who has entered the United States, and it's Gorman's duty to catch Beldar and deport him out of the country. He pledges to serve and honor. So, one night when Beldar and Primat are sleeping peacefully in their upright beds, Gorman with his men arrives at their home to catch them. The Coneheads immediately grab hold of the communications device and head out to safety. Gorman desperately tries to catch them, but in the end he's not able to. While searching the home, Gorman finds the Coneheads' alien uniform, and some text in a language which isn't English. After sending out those items for inspection, Gorman promises to himself that he will catch those immigrants and send them back to where they belong. Months later, Beldar has started working as a taxi driver and has been living with his wife in his boss Kodri's basement. Primat is healthy with their baby and she's been looking for a house to buy so they can give their child a better home on Earth. Beldar is concerned that with the rate of heavy taxes that he pays, the house is out of their option. But Primat has saved enough money. Just then, Primat's water breaks and she is taken to the hospital. Otto and Kudri are also in the hospital to support Beldar. The alien child's birth is much more complicated than a human's, and after long hours of labor, Primat gives birth to a baby girl. Beldar and Primat are happy, Otto and Kudri are also happy, and the doctors are just exhausted. Meanwhile, Eli informs Gorman that the fabrics found on the Conehead's uniform aren't found on Earth. Gorman seems excited, as this suggests that the illegal immigrants are actually aliens. Eli then says that if they're aliens, the National Air Force should take care of them. But Gorman believes that the aliens aren't on vacation. Instead, they are illegally taking employment in the United States, so that makes them a problem. Soon they get a hold of a sketch of Beldar and they set out to catch him. But they end up catching Kudri, who explains that Beldar has left work without any explanation. Another failed attempt of catching the Coneheads. But Gorman isn't going to give up. Just then, Eli gets his hands on a promotion letter. Turns out the US government liked the collar bomb idea and have promoted Gorman to be on-site field enforcement head. Gorman is happy and decides to take the promotion, ending his pursuit of the Conehead aliens who are illegally living in the United States. With the immigration department out of their way, Beldar and Primat continue living a normal life on Earth with their daughter. They begin living like a normal American family, celebrating Christmas and spending weekends out on the beach. The Coneheads are truly living the American dream and have settled quite comfortably in the United States. Years go by, the Coneheads haven't aged a bit, and their daughter Connie is now a teenager. Beldar is left shocked when he finds that his daughter has gotten a butterfly tattoo on her Conehead. Connie explains that it's not a real tattoo and it's a hot trend among the people of her age. Well, real or not, Beldar wants it removed. One day, Beldar gets in an argument with a car mechanic named Ronnie. Beldar is furious because his car hasn't been fixed in hours. He tries to get in on Ronnie's face, but Ronnie isn't one to get intimidated and tells Beldar to either wait or fix his car himself. This all gets noticed by Connie, who is rather impressed at Ronnie for not getting scared of her father. She asks Ronnie to go out on a date with her. Ronnie finds himself extremely lucky to be with a beautiful girl with a cone-shaped head. Primat, on the other hand, gets warned by her human friend about a lady who has been taking driving lessons from Beldar. The lady in question is attracted to Beldar and is taking frequent driving lessons so she can impress him. To her, Beldar is a man, unlike others. He's simply outside of this world. She even forcefully kisses Beldar, who immediately backs away and lets her know that adultery isn't allowed on the planet of Rumalek. He keeps the interaction strictly business and asks the lady to pay for the lesson and leave. Later on, Connie is getting dropped off by her date, who seems a little too excited and starts kissing her. Connie stops him and Ronnie gets sad, believing the date didn't go well and Connie doesn't like him. But Connie assures him that's not the case. It's just that her parents have never shown any signs of affection towards her, so she's afraid she doesn't know how to. Ronnie goes, "It's simple, just lean forward and kiss." Connie does exactly the same, but the outcome is a lot different than what Ronnie expected. But surprisingly, Ronnie ends up liking the alien way of kissing and loses his control. He starts to force himself on Connie, who storms out of his car and reaches her home sad and depressed. When asked what's the problem, Connie replies that Ronnie grasped her cone. Angry as any parent would be regardless of which planet they're from, Beldar goes out and tears the roof off of Ronnie's car, after which he gives out a strict warning to Ronnie to never ever get close to his daughter. Next day, while Beldar is busy golfing with his friend, Ronnie wants to apologize for how he behaved to Connie the last night. He even attends Connie's diving competition to cheer her on. After Connie makes a perfect dive, thanks to her cone, Ronnie tries to apologize, but his apologies are left unheard. But he doesn't give up, and Connie finally forgives him. So Ronnie's hope for a romantic relationship is still on. Okay, now let's see what Gorman is up to. He's about to get promoted as a deputy commissioner, but the concerned authorities want him to answer why he spent almost $250,000 in a failed pursuit of an illegal immigrant named DeChico. Gorman explains that an alien has been living in the United States who once used the false identity of DeChico. In order to save his promotion, Gorman promises that he'll catch the alien and make the investment worthwhile. And just within a few days, Eli has found the location of Beldar and his family. And like a true boss's pet, he duly informs Gorman about it. And back to the Coneheads. Primat has recently been concerned about her relationship with Beldar. She's afraid that the lady who takes driving lessons from Beldar will steal her man away. So she grabs all the women's magazines in an effort to understand how to save her marriage. When Beldar returns home from golfing, he finds the house lit with candles. A little too many candles, to be honest. There's a large drink prepared for him, and Primat is dressed like a normal female human, with her cone head covered. She wants to seduce Beldar, and she has successfully managed to do so. Meanwhile, Gorman and his men, who have been spying on the Coneheads, mistake the sound of alien intercourse to someone stepping on a cat. Few days later, Gorman and Eli, in the guise of Jehovah's Witnesses, enter the Coneheads' household. Halloween is near, so the Coneheads are dressed as Abraham Lincoln and lipstick. An honestly hilarious way to hide their cones. As Gorman tries to subtly investigate the Coneheads' history in the United States, Primat learns that their alien communication device has received a signal. She immediately informs Beldar of the situation, who in turn kicks their house guests out and reports to the device. As Connie is happily enjoying a fancy costume party with Ronnie, she gets called by her father, who informs that a rescue vessel has been sent and they will soon fly back to planet Rumalek. After spending her entire life on Earth, Connie is reluctant to leave, but Beldar doesn't want his daughter to live on Earth for forever. Realizing her father isn't going to change his decision, Connie goes to Ronnie to bid her farewell. As Beldar gets busy celebrating his golfing trophy, which he won for the best golfer in the neighborhood, Connie and Ronnie enter a room together to say their goodbyes. Later, when the Conehead couple arrive home, they catch their daughter having weird alien intercourse with her human boyfriend. That's it. Not one more minute on Earth. Beldar wants his family out of Earth, but Ronnie, with his newfound libido for alien telepathic sex, wants to join them. Just then, Gorman arrives with some armed INS officers and asks the Conehead family to surrender. But after waiting a whole 7 Zerls, the Coneheads aren't going to give up as easily. As Gorman confidently steps forward to catch the alien family, the rescue vessel from Rumalak arrives and carries their car. Gorman doesn't want to lose, so he grabs onto the car, and so does Eli, so he can impress his boss. With that, the Coneheads, along with Gorman and Eli, get into the UFO. After traveling millions of light years, the Coneheads finally arrive at their very own planet, Rumalak. Beldar and Primat are extremely happy to get back home, but before they can rest, they must face their High Master, who doesn't hold back on punishing those who fail to impress him. Beldar gifts the High Master with 2 human captives. The Coneheads are surprised to see aliens with blunt heads. The High Master is impressed, but he wants more. So Beldar hands him some gifts from planet Earth: a tire iron, an owner's manual for a Ford Lincoln Mercury Sable, and lastly, some chewing gum. Wait, that's not chewing gum. Anyway, the High Master seems to like it. However, when he sees the crown on Beldar's teeth, he feels insulted and sentences Beldar to death. The Conehead aliens all take audience seats to a coliseum of some sort where the prisoners on death row will battle against a beast to death. One prisoner gets out and gets eaten. The second one goes out more confidently, but his fate is the same as the ones before. The third prisoner is reasonably scared, but he cannot stop his fate. Lastly, it's Beldar's turn. After hiding away from the beast's sight, Beldar blinds the beast in one eye. Later, he makes a few adjustments to his weapon and makes a handy golf club. Utilizing the golfing skills he acquired on his 7 Zerls on Earth, Beldar successfully aces a stone in the beast's mouth and slays it. Impressed by Beldar's show of courage and strength, the High Master grants him one wish. Beldar wishes that he's permitted to return back to Earth, after which he will conquer the planet and enslave all the Blunt Skulls for the High Master. Moreover, he also wants to take back the Blunt Skull prisoners to Earth. The High Master grants Beldar's wish, but he can only take back one prisoner. So Beldar picks Gorman, the one with higher office and authority. The crowd cheers for Beldar, which leaves the High Master a little sad, because he has never been applauded like that. So Eli steps in and tries to console the sad little High Master. You know, I think Eli will do just fine on planet Rumalek. Moving on, Beldar travels back to planet Earth, with a battle fleet following him to help him take control of planet Earth. As Beldar lands on Earth with his family, he acts as if he's getting attacked by the humans. He commands the battle fleet to retreat and get back to safety. Afraid that the humans have more advanced weaponry than them, the battle fleet turns around and heads back towards planet Rumalek. Knowing that his daughter will be a lot happier on Earth, Beldar blows the spaceship, making it look like he lost his life in a battle for planet Rumalek. The High Master and everyone believe that Beldar is dead. But luckily, the High Master has a souvenir from Beldar which he can remember him for. Back on Earth, Beldar and Gorman reach an agreement. In return for saving his life, Gorman will allow the Coneheads to live peacefully in the United States. Later, Beldar approves Connie of dating Ronnie, and they continue living a normal human life with their cone-shaped heads. Well, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by smashing the like button. If you have something to say, feel free to use the comment section. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to Dude Recaps for more videos.